some of the stuff Brother Ngozi is saying is wrong. It's totally wrong, right? And because he's not familiar with the fields. I'm not talking about the stuff on linguists, right? We have documented this stuff, myself and Dr. Phil. I made over 40 trips to Africa. 40. Going into 40. I lived in Kemet. Not when as a tourist. I lived there. I've had children that were born in Ghana, right? I've been all over Western Central Africa just going because I wanted to know, right? So what I'm saying is, even everything you're saying and what Brother Ansar is saying is up for debate.
Okay, you was gonna say something, Ngozi?
I was gonna say that brother book and those scholars that he's talking about, that information only matters to Pan-Africans. It doesn't matter to anybody outside of mainstream academia or people that's really doing genetic tests. Rick Kittles won't even agree with that, and Rick Kittles is an African-American geneticist. Soy Kieta's not gonna agree with that. They're not even part of the Afrocentric paradigm. That stuff only means something to people that's part of that world. So only people that's part of that world, that shit matter to her. Remember, he said that they had the articles or the booklets that they got for 20 years. Do you know how much shit has been discovered?
You don't know what you're talking about. If you're thinking shit, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know. You just saying something. You don't know what you're talking about.
Let me finish what I'm saying, bro. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Let me just say what I'm saying, and then you can go ahead and rebuttal me. Let me just say this. What I'm trying to say is this. The brother said they got articles from 20 years. And what I'm trying to say is, do you know how much stuff has been discovered about the human genome and anthropology and archaeology within the last 20 years? What I'm trying to say is that if they dealing with something from 20 years ago, it is outdated. And I'm here to say against our own Pan-African old teachers, some stuff that they have said is outdated and it was incorrect. And what I'm trying to say is that there are 54 countries in Africa. Now, if I can include the Canary Islands and certain islands that's off Africa, we can say 56. But within a major 54, I think it's sad that we believe that a human population got to come all the way from the Nile and repopulate into West Africa, and then we become these so-called Africans or these people that descend from Egypt. That's insane. Africa has the highest level of genetic diversity on the planet. And there are different variations of people within themselves. So what I'm trying to say is I think that it's kind of sad when we denounce who we are as West Africans. Now, I'm not knocking that the Egyptians were not black, because they were black. But again, they were a specific group of people. And the people that they were are being abandoned and they're being neglected, and people are not telling their story. These are the same people that Arabs, European Frenchmen use to dig up stuff, to master the hieroglyphs form and do all types of stuff, and they're called the Bija. And again, the Egyptians' affinities, even their skulls, when they measure the skulls, it matches up with Horners. The DNA variations matches up with Horners. And again, the certain markers that they have is far off from us by almost 10 to 5, and also sometimes 12,000 years. You can't tell me that a Wolof, that Y chromosome is EM33, is the same thing as an Egyptian who Y chromosome is EM78 or E1B1A that predates the M2 branch. That's a 22,000 year branch from the oldest cloud of haplogroup E, which is EM96. It doesn't make sense once you start getting into it and digging in it. Now, am I saying that some West African people didn't migrate to Egypt? Yes, some of them did in the Badarian period, in pre-dynastic times. But the majority of the people were a specific type of people that was indigenous to that Horn area that spent time in the Sahara. We talked about the Neolithic population or the Nilotic population, and primarily the Afro-Asiatic population that the people or the Afrocentric community tries to deny. Afro-Asiatic is something real. It's the Eastern African language, and it's one of the first daughters that branched off from the early Nilo-Saharan, and she also had a sister clade called Nostratic that also went into the so-called Middle East. So what I'm trying to say is that if you got an article from 20 years, it's outdated, sir. And I'm trying to say that we got to get more technical and we got to get deeper into it. Stuff is not designed to stay the same. And if anybody deal with science and understands science, when you discover something that's new and it outbeats the old theory or the old beliefs, and it challenges you and it makes better sense, or it's actual fact after you test it, we have to accept it. You can't just keep on the old stuff of the last 20 years and thinking, like, for example, Dr. Antijok, he did the test of Ramesses II to see that the man had melanin. Okay, he had melanin. But what is the abstract or the level of content of melanocytes that he had? We understand the molecular formula for melanin. But what is the measurement of the abstract or level of melanin that he had? Of course, he had darker pigment, but was he as dark as specific people that live south of the Sahara or south of Sudan? Because when we look on the walls, we see who is who and who is not. And when you look at his skull and you look at certain markers that even his son had, not his son, but his grandson. Grandson Ramesses III was the son of Sennacherib. And when you look at the mitochondria, it wasn't of African descent. Ramesses II had over 200 kids, and he was marrying Hittite women to Mitannian women to indigenous women. So we got to be real specific about these Egyptians and tell the truth about who these people are and stop romanticizing the Nile Valley, period. You can even see it with the Horners in northern Ethiopia, with the Aksumite Empire. We can talk about the back migrations and even the back migration that was recently discovered from the fossils that they found in the cave, and they measured the DNA, and they said that one of the earliest back migrations occurred in that part of Africa as early as 3,500 years. Why is it that Haile Selassie Y chromosome is T? T marker is not indigenous to Africa, so you got a lot of back migrations that came in. So I just want to let that be clear.
I'm not going to argue with people that clearly have demonstrated to me on certain subject matters that they don't know what they're talking about. It's a waste of my time, right?
Okay.
And I'm not saying that these guys are not experts on linguists, but they don't know the migration pattern. They've already demonstrated this way. And the best way to do that is to show me your writing.
Hey,
What
Doc.
have you written?
All right, so hold on, y'all.
Not
Hold
what
on,
you
y'all.
talk about.
Doc,
What
Hold on,
have you
y'all.
written?
Hold
Because
on.
once you write something, once
Hold
you write
on,
something,
hold on,
you
Doc.
can be assessed
Doc.
and debated.
Hold on, y'all. Let's not get emotional and get carried away. Hold on, Ngozi.
Show me your scholarship.
Hold
Show
on.
me what you have written. Show me that.
Doc, I'm gonna have to mute you. I told you, hold on. Hold on, Doc. Hold on. So now, Ngozi, you heard what the doc said. Let's get some clarity to this. Kansu, you heard what the doc said. So the question is, Kansu and Ngozi, do you have any written work? Yes or no? All I want is a brief yes or no. I'll start with Kansu first. I'll start with Kansu first. Kansu, do you have any written work?
No.
All right, Kansu said no, correct?
Yep. Nope.
Ngozi, do you have any written work? Yes or no?
No, but we will be writing one. And I want to ask him.
Then we can debate after that. I'm out of here. Peace.
No, don't leave. Don't leave, Doc. Okay, again.
He's gone.
See, Joe? See how the game go? It ain't no fun when the rabbit gets
Yo, man, y'all ain't got nothing in writing, man.
Read, a nigga can't read without a piece of Get shit out of here.
I'm sorry. Say what you said again, Kansu. Say what you just said again, Kansu.
A nigga can't read without the cracker giving him a piece of paper, Temple University. Yes, doctor, you are excellent. Your lame ass out of here. You didn't want to take it. All you had to do was agree to a conversation, but you jumped on our show. You was dying to get on the show, and then when we body bag your ass, then you don't want to do nothing after that.
Brother Joe, let me just say this before you. I know you gotta go.
I want his book. Hold on, one more thing, Ngozi. He showed his book 10 times. Think about that. He showed his book 10 times. Go ahead, man.
I just want to say this. That stuff he talking only matters to that little circle. They're the only ones that believe it. Afrocentrics and people that's Pan-African. Outside of that circle, it's not recognized. He's being sponsored by people he said is Afrocentric and Pan-African. They teach feel-good information. It's romanticism. It's crap. It's only important amongst the Afrocentric community. When you start dealing with real people that's testing this DNA and that's getting into this anthropology, the whole dream that they have is crushed. That's why they don't want to deal with DNA. And he can't tell me I don't understand the migratory route. Because the migratory route, I can break that down off the dome, the whole map, the whole human genome, in directions that it went in. So he talked to the wrong individual. That's crazy, bro.
Man, we sitting there chilling in slippers, Joel.
The fraternity of Afrocentricity. giving niggas degrees in African studies who don't know shit about the white man. What do they teach in the African studies department? They teach niggas in slavery, niggas before slavery, niggas in the Middle Passage, niggas in the Civil Rights era, niggas in the Board of Education, niggas and some subjugated shit with some white people. Never do you hear in African studies niggas beat the white man. Never do you hear analysis on a power dynamic. How you gonna train a black man in African studies and they don't know shit about the white man? That's really dangerous. So there's a gap. Leonard Jeffries, who spoke with me at State University of New York, admitted that they're dishonest. Our scholars are dishonest because they hate Steve Coakley for getting into this when it's here. It should be gotten into, but they're into denial. They don't want the people. Why is it African studies departments are primarily at white colleges, at Temple, at the State University of New York, or San Francisco State, the first African studies department, in the 60s. Nathan Hare, who helped found it, he can't even teach there. University of Minnesota. All these schools with African studies department are white schools. The black schools won't have African studies because they claim to already be black. So they don't deal in that. They don't give degrees in that. So now you got black professors at white universities having to teach black children the white way. And that's turned into the fraternity of Afrocentricity. I challenge those Negro professors on reparations, the Conrad Worrells and the others who are off on Columbus Day, who are off on Thanksgiving, who are off on Christmas. They're off on Easter. They get paid for colonial holidays and they for reparations. Something's wrong there.